Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chalkboard Tutorial. So in this episode we are going to be looking at a phenomenon known as Mach cones. So what exactly are Mach cones? So if you look at the picture here we have of the fighter jet, we have an aircraft that's moving at an extremely high velocities. Now if the aircraft moves faster than the speed of sound, it will go past the observer, so me and you, it goes past the observer before the sound waves emitted can reach us. And the waves are compressed so strongly that a shock front tends to form. A shock front tends to form. And this shock front takes the geometric shape of a cone, as you can see. Now, what we're trying to do in this episode is we are trying to work out the angle of the cone, or also known as the Mach angle, which is signified here as theta. Now, in order to be able to find out the theta, we need two sets of data. So the first thing we need is the velocity at which the aircraft is flying, or the velocity at which the object is moving. And the second thing we need is the speed of sound. So the equation we use, quite simply, is sine theta is equal to, so we have the speed of sound, which is measured in meters per second, divided by the velocity, which once again is measured in meters per second. So let's jump in and let's try to do a question. So let's presume that the aircraft we have here is moving at a velocity of 500 meters per second. So we have 500, and let's presume that the speed of sound is 340 meters per second, right? So based off this data, if we were to find out what the angle is, we could go with sine theta. We have 340 divided by 500, which gives us an approximate of 0.68. And then it's just a matter of simple rearranging the formula to find theta. So theta would be the arcsine of 0.68. And then we've determined the angle to be 43 degrees. So the angle here would be 43 degrees. Now, let's try to sort of play around with the question a bit more and try to rearrange. Now, let's presume that we have the angle of the cone. So we're given the angle to be, let's go with 62 degrees. We know that the speed of sound is 340 meters per second, but we don't know what the velocity is, and we ought to determine the velocity of the aircraft. So once again, going off the equation we have here, we could just rearrange this equation to sine. We have our theta, which is 62, and we have our speed of sound, which is 340. We divide that by velocity, which is what we need to find out. A quick calculation of this on the computer, on the calculator, gives us 0.88, 340 divided by v, and then we just rearrange it once again to bring v to be the factor that we're trying to find out. So we have 340 divided by 0.88, which gives us an approximation of 385 meters per second, and that is our velocity.